Hey, Shay here. So this is going to be my full spoiler-free review of Iron Lung. If you're just wanting a very quick overview, you can go to my shorts below. Otherwise, let's get into it. So this is a sci-fi horror film that's been adapted from a video game also called Iron Lung. It was starred in, directed, produced by a very well-known horror game YouTuber named Markiplier. I've been subscribed to him for almost 10 years, and as his channel has grown, is the quality of the videos he's putting out is getting better and better, and he ended up actually directing and producing two short interactive films on YouTube, ones that depending on what you decide, there's different endings, which is a very classic thing when it comes to video games. And the actual man that is behind the game Iron Lung had a cameo in this movie. I was reading that. And then another well-known YouTuber that does a lot of gameplay is Jacksepticeye. So I was reading that and I thought that was pretty cool. So I guess a little bit more details, because I haven't actually played the games. I was quite confused when it came to what was happening. My friend and I kind of had to just kind of piece it together. And for those that are like me, that are a baby, I'm going to give you a little bit more details that aren't, it's just going to help clarify a little bit. It isn't going to give anything away. I'm not going to get into many details beyond this, but the premise is actually set in a post-apocalyptic future after an event, and it's referenced as the quiet rapture. I'm not exactly too sure what was quiet about it, but essentially all the known stars and habitable planets in the universe. So I guess to that understanding, it means that humans could actually travel to different planets, and there's different civilizations, or were different civilizations on these different planets, and they all disappeared. So, it's in many ways, it seems like humanity is on the brink of extinction, and they're just trying to do everything they possibly can to save the human race, is kind of my understanding of it. And Markiplier, he ends up, he's playing this convict that is sent in this very, very crude midget is how it's described, submarine, nicknamed the Iron Lung, to essentially they discover that there's this desolate moon, and there's an ocean of blood on this moon. So he is sent in this craft to explore this ocean. And it's one that, other than seeing and hearing some of the, other people every so often, it really is mainly Mark. He's the one that's really at the forefront of this movie. It's one that it is a slow burn of a film, but it's one that is it's unsettling in the type of slow burn it is. And it's not an outright horror film. My friend that I went with, he doesn't like horror films. And I wouldn't say that this one is like classic horror where there's like lots of jump scares and things like that. But it is a slow burn. There is gore in it. Honestly, the makeup that they did in it, I knew Mark was fantastic in performance and entertainment, but I gotta give him props with his acting skills. He did such a great job. This movie, it's you see someone who's slowly unraveling as the movie goes on, and it's one of those movies that you don't know if what people are seeing, if it's real. You don't know if it's something that is figments of imagination. You don't know if it's because they're on this in this ocean. It is a movie that you don't really know what's happening for chunks of it, where you just kind of have to just keep watching, and hopefully you can figure out what's going on, just because of the direction of the film. The end sequence was unbelievable. Was fantastic. Honestly, there's so many, even though, like, I mean, you look at the movie poster and you see these spikes. So, like, whatever that thing is, I mean, that, the CGI and that was incredible. Honestly, there's so many aspects of this movie that was absolutely incredible. And I was talking to one of my friends about video games, movies that are adapted from video games, and it's even more so. There, like, you have the book community that it's really hard to adapt a movie from books sometimes. And book lovers can be very critical, but you can also say that about gamers and how critical they can be. So you have someone who has played horror games, all different horror games, for many, many, many years, actually stepping into director, and he did it. And I want to go home and actually watch the gameplay to figure out, because the way it ended, my friend's like, so, well, I'm kind of lost. Like, he's there for a reason, but it's like the plot gets lost a number of times, where you're like, okay, I thought like this has been resolved, or like, all right, like, you did this and you did this, and then, now what? And it's a movie that it's a mind bending of a movie. And, I have lots of questions. I do have lots of questions. So, yeah, I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna want to watch the gameplay, and then I'm gonna want to watch the movie again. But from hearing people talk about the movie after, they said it was really good. They really liked it. They thought they did a really great job. I think this movie is going to be a big success. Like I said, I didn't watch the trailer. I went in only knowing what I said in the overview. That's all I knew going into this movie. I didn't know anything else. So hopefully this spoiler-free review, you enjoyed it. I think I'm going to record a very, very short clip that I'm gonna include in my my next video, of like spoilers that or things that I've noticed that it's kind of like shade from the past and what her thoughts were. So that'll be another video. But this movie was really, really, really great. Did a great job. This was very unsettling. I had to, look away a number of times, and it was like, yeah, no, it was a great movie. So enjoy. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and if you stayed until the very end, thank you so much. I'm very, very appreciative of everyone that actually just watches to the end of my videos, and likes to listen to what I say and is cool with my ramblings. So yeah, no, great movie. Would recommend it. It was a horror game, or a horror film video game adaptation that was very, very well done. And I'm going to go watch the actual full gameplay to try to understand this movie so much more. So thanks for taking the time, and until the next video. Bye.